Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Sunday evening, March 1, 2026. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps which are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather's been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any other related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so we need to highlight the fact that today is the first day of meteorological spring, March 1 all the way through the end of May. So basically spring has begun according to meteorologists, but we know that actual spring begins around the 20th, the 21st day of March for sure, when we get that spring equinox, based on the tilting of the earth and its position and so on. So we're almost there for real actual spring, but meteorological spring has begun and we've already been seeing the spring like temperatures coming in. Definitely warmer than average, definitely sunny, less cold fronts taking place. Doesn't mean that we can't get some more cold fronts before we head into the summer, but definitely less than what we would ever see when we were in winter. Alright, so we need to highlight the biggest news of the day. Even although it has nothing to do with meteorology, we need to highlight the fact that we got an earthquake. It states here, the United States Geological Survey, USGS, has confirmed a minor 3.7 magnitude earthquake that struck 5 kilometers east-northeast of Anato Bay, St. Mary, Jamaica at 8:34 a.m. on Sunday, March 1, 2026. Did you feel it? Remember to drop cover and hold on if another one occurs. And this was where the USGS had the epicenter of the system, just to the east-northeast of Anato Bay, St. Mary. They said that it was a 3.7. There was another app out there that said that it was a 4.1. And the earthquake unit said that it was actually a 4.6. These things happen. We usually get different readings here and there. We like to have some differentiation to see who is actually right or who actually felt what and how was the shaking, so we can really compare. Whatever the case may be, it's also worthy to note that they've stated that the location of the earthquake was northeast, 10 kilometers northeast of Stony Hill, St. Andrew. So they basically had it right here around northern St. Andrew, southwestern Portland, southeastern St. Mary border right there. So it's kind of interesting that the USGS has it out to sea. The Jamaica earthquake unit from UMONA has it right here on the border of Portland and St. Andrew. Either way, we definitely had some comments from some of our followers highlighting that they felt it. Did you feel it? I was sleeping at the time, so I didn't feel anything. I woke up minutes to 9, and as stated, it happened at 8:34 a.m. They've stated here, well, on our X page, we have X posting 8 hours ago, no way that felt heavier than 3.7. We have one SGNNAMNAXO posting 8 hours ago. It can't be a 3.7 for Kingston though. That shake was healthy. We have Cardi D posting it was heavier than 3.7. Of Cheryl Fisher stating, them scales reading wrong, cause with the loud rumbling sound and the heavy shaking felt in Portmore wasn't normal at all. We have Fest Gina sitting, I felt 2 times at St. Catherine's side. Even on our Instagram page, we had the comments that came in. Simone_B_Taylor posting 8 hours ago. Minor 3.7. Nah, on a scale one fix. We have a Cashy_Cash stating, if we are not accepting a 4.1, is the 3.7 we're gonna accept. We have _A Mila_ posting, but why does you have the epicenter at northeast Stony Hill? Who now do them job right? We have _Jody_ posting, bro, that thing literally felt like a bomb drop somewhere. In no way that 3.7 or 4.1. We have Tracy underscore Saunders underscore 19 posting 57 minutes ago. What is going on with the repeated earthquakes this year? Very scary. Well, we can just hope that, they don't mean that a bigger earthquake is coming, because they could mean foreshocks. They could also mean aftershocks for the big earthquake in October of 2023. So we'll see. We have Carrie K777 posting 8 hours ago. That thing woke me up and gave me an instant headache. We have X underscore dot Chrissy underscore posting 8 hours ago. 3.7. Not after wrong. It literally wake me out of my deep sleep. We have woman underscore level underscore up posting 8 hours ago. More like a 5. We have Marlon underscore one god underscore posting 8 hours ago. That's strong, man. We have Jody and Thama posting 8 hours ago. It can't be right. 3.7. Nope, it makes my bedroom shake. We have TRD Sports underscore 876 posting no way, that's a 3.7. S.J. underscore Molo posting 6 hours ago. I feel gaslit. That was a 3.7. Even on our Facebook page, we had the comments that came in. Shane Puligaza Hypers posting 6 hours ago. As Tony me here, how comes Buff Bay? We have Tamian S. Beckford posting 7 hours ago. That was more like 5 magnitude. We have Junior Marsh Hastings replying. The Jamaica Information Service said it was a 4.6 magnitude. We have Rona Ace posting 7 hours ago. It felt it in St. Mary. We have Mark Thompson posting 8 hours ago. Yes, in Ochi. We have Cassandra Campbell posting in Portland. Marva Palmer stating no, she didn't feel it. Antoinette Easy posting yes in Kingston 8 hours ago. Even on our YouTube platform, we had some comments that came in. We have G.S2427 posting 8 hours ago. UA Earthquake Center has it listed 4.6. We have Carlton Crossdale 4093 posting 7 hours ago. Good morning, I feel the quake at about 8:03 a.m. We really know. We have Manhurter posting 6 hours ago. It woke me up. And we have Wadner 8119 posting 8 hours ago. Stay safe with the Jamaica. We need you. Don't want nothing bad to happen to you, boy. And the thing is, I was sleeping at the time, so who knows, I might have, woken up dead. If it was a big one, hopefully not, in Jesus' name. We also had some comments that came in here on our TikTok page. KD posting yes in Portland, and Tasha posting St. James. Either way, we must remember what to do in the event of an earthquake. You cannot be there panicking and wondering what is happening and looking confused or getting afraid. Immediately, the first thing that you should do is drop to the floor. Get under something sturdy, a table or a desk, as long as you can fit there, and hold on to the legs of this desk or table. If you don't have a desk or table, you're supposed to cover your head or whatever the case may be. You're trying to protect your head from falling debris. They've stated that going into the doorway helps, but I heard that's a myth, boy. Either way, we need to know that yes, we are in an era where we have active faults. We have the Walton Fault Zone that extends from western Jamaica all the way over to the direction of Central America. And we have the Enriquillo Plantain Garden Fault Zone that extends from eastern Jamaica all the way over into Haiti and the southwestern Dominican Republic. And we have to remember that this fault zone is the one that caused the massive Haiti earthquake in 2010, the 7.0 that caused so many fatalities, and the 7.3, if I'm not mistaken, back in 2021 in August in Haiti, boy. We don't want to be on the receiving end of one of those earthquakes again in our lifetime, because the damage that these earthquakes can cause. We don't want to be in a big building. I mean, we need to understand that earthquakes don't kill people. It's the very what's the word, buildings that aren't built well that end up killing people, because especially in Haiti, where we have very poor infrastructure in Port-au-Prince, that was definitely what led to all of the collapsing of the buildings and the fatalities that took place. Because trust me, if that earthquake had hit in a place like Japan, where they have earthquake resistant buildings, then the fatalities wouldn't have been that much. And I mean, Jamaica has decent buildings here and there, built with steel, Carib cement, whatever the case may be. definitely sturdier buildings than in Haiti. And I mean, I have seen some buildings in Haiti that are actually, similar to some of the Jamaican houses, the concrete roofs and the steel bulging out. There are some buildings, especially after the 2021 earthquake, I saw footage, that were still standing and they were in the epicenter zone. So, yes, sometimes earthquakes can definitely be frightening, but I feel like Jamaica could definitely, withstand one of those major earthquakes. The thing we shouldn't do is to panic and run, and then the stampede, and then that's how people get injured or dead or whatever the case may be. We don't want to have anything like that at all. And given these plate boundaries that we have running through the island, trust me, we cannot get crazy tsunamis like what we had in Indonesia or in Japan. We can't get those, and we can't get anything more than let's see, at least an 8.0 earthquake. Alright, hopefully not in our timeline at all. Alright, moving on to some weather related information. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. Till watching the broken orange lines associated with some troughs to the south of Costa Rica, Panama into western Colombia. Another trough right here into the Bahamas. Frontal system off the east coast of the US that extends down into southern Florida. Ridge of high pressure to the north that we know is responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And the red line associated with the intertropical convergence zone extending from the west coast of Africa all the way over into northeastern South America. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost sunlight, we can make out the clouds associated with that frontal system extending down to the southern Bahamas, southern Florida into the Gulf. Clouds associated with that trough across the Bahamas. Clouds associated with the troughs to the south of Costa Rica, Panama into Colombia. Low level flow and mid level flow of the clouds being steered from east west, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure to the north, and the mass of clouds associated with the intertropical convergence zone extending all the way from northeastern South America all the way over into the west coast of Africa. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Sunday, March 1, 2026. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast of parts of eastern Jamaica on Sunday morning, also affecting sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes during Sunday afternoon. We know eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, and St. Andrew. Central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, and St. Catherine. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And if you remember in yesterday's video, we also highlighted the fact that most of the moisture seems like it would have been piling up across sections of some southern parishes more than anything else. And we know southern parishes, we're talking about Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. And what ended up happening? At around the 2:21 p.m. timestamp, we posted on our social media platforms. So firstly on our Twitter page with Jamaica. Keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page, but they're also made on our Instagram page with Jamaica, on our TikTok page with Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you cannot afford to miss. So we can see the clouds that are bringing some overcast skies, if not some isolated showers, especially across sections of some southern parishes. So anywhere from St. Andrew westward, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester into St. Elizabeth, even portions of Westmoreland, got on the overcast skies, if not isolated shower activity. Definitely sunny, if not partly cloudy skies for the most part on the north coast and the eastern end of the island. And we can see it all even better on the visible satellite image here of Jamaica before we lost sunlight. Look at all of the clouds across sections of especially southern Jamaica, from St. Elizabeth eastward, Manchester, section of St. Catherine, and even sections of St. Andrew, but clearly dissipating as we're losing the sunlight. Most of the activity clearing out on the northern, central, eastern side. Just some leftover clouds across St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland. And we didn't get that much in the way of convection, even although we had some slight convection here in St. Elizabeth. Look at the slight patches of blues here and there that represents the low end of the scale in terms of cumulus and nimbus cloud cover. Not to mention some sparkling white dots in there that represent lightning strikes. Definitely confirming that we had some amount of rainfall in the St. Elizabeth area. We see some of those rain bands right here to the south of Westmoreland, to the south of St. Elizabeth, definitely pushing up to the south and west. That represents some moderate to some slightly heavy rainfall. The live camera here from Jamaica's YouTube channel shows Outages in St. Anne at around the 13:40 hours time frame. That's around 1:40 p.m. We can see people walking about, going about their business, people in their vehicles going about their business. Nothing new of bad weather taking place at that time, definitely sunny for the most part. And if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit Jamaica on YouTube. We have these live streams all for you to view for free, so subscribe today to this channel so that you don't miss out. And if we take a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, that's the CIMH, we can see that we definitely had that rainfall, all courtesy of those clouds piling up on the south coast for sure. And we definitely have some comments from some of our followers about what the weather is like in their area today. We have a Demir Lockstafari posting on our Facebook page. It actually rained in Portmore. Thankfully, it cooled down the place. We have Audrey Jackson posting 3 hours ago as well. Sunny and hot in the hills of St. James. We have Sylvia Bando posting 3 hours ago as well. Bright and sunny in the Brownstone St. Anne area. We have Marcia Freeman posting 4 hours ago, overcast. We have Maureen Cunningham posting 3 hours ago, bright and sunny in Montego Bay. Marva Palmer posting 3 hours ago right now. We're having little rain in South St. Elizabeth. Even on our Instagram page, we had at least one comment that came in here from Marlon _1 God _ posting Clarendon wet and muddy. Thanks for confirming. And even some comments that came in here on our YouTube platform. Sandra Brown 2882 posting 2 hours ago. Got rain in Portmore. Richard Edwards 8782 posting 2 hours ago. Still want some rain. We have Popeye Brooks 8416 posting 29 minutes ago. Rain falling in St. Elizabeth. Thank you all for confirming what the weather is like in your area for today. Alright, so let us reload the very latest still image here from the Weather Nerds website. The latest Cuban Doppler radar imagery. The latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar imagery. The latest Cayman radar. Unfortunately, the latest Jamaican Doppler radar cannot be shown because Doppler radar is still down. But right here, we can definitely see the latest still image is showing 23:25 UTC, which is actually 6:25 p.m. So this just came out about 12 minutes ago, considering that it is 6:37 p.m. right now. So we can definitely see the leftover clouds to the south of Westmoreland, to the south of St. Elizabeth, definitely in line with what we just saw on the Cuban Doppler radar imagery, which goes all the way up to the 6:30 p.m. time frame. You can see those rain bands in the greens and the yellows pushing out towards the south and the west, definitely dissipating the more they push out. And the Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar imagery actually shows up to the 6:15 p.m. time frame. But what we're seeing is nothing across northeastern Jamaica, some isolated shores across the southwestern peninsula of Haiti, but most of the rainfall on this Doppler radar imagery is being shown across the southern coast of eastern Cuba right here, quickly pushing out towards the south. The Cayman radar definitely showing some moisture across central Cuba, pushing to the south, and some upper level wind shear blowing whatever off towards the east. We see some light rainfall in the blues, and we also see nothing really affecting the Cayman Islands right now, just some isolated sprinkles to the southwest of there, some leftover rainfall to the south and to the west of St. Elizabeth and Haiti, and Westmoreland, to confirm what we saw on the Doppler radar imagery from Cuba and the satellite images. The live camera here from Jamaica's YouTube channel shows halfway through. You can see that we still have people walking about, going about their business, people in their vehicles going about their business. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place, definitely fear. And that should be the order of the evening into the night. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we're at 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Monday, temperature should dip down to about 23 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 21 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. This map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Monday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Monday. And we can see Jamaica right here embedded in some yellows and some slight oranges that represents maybe up to 1 to 2 degrees Celsius above average. And we know the average temperatures for the month of March across Jamaica is around 87.3 degrees Fahrenheit. When that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 30.72. So we should be receiving anywhere from 30.72 to about 32.72 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Monday, March 2. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. It stays here. Seek shade when outside. Eat fresh or eating cold foods such as salads and fruit. Rest to make sure you get enough sleep, and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak, take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugary drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, the whites, the Indians. We see a lot of dry air extending all the way from Africa across the main development region to the Caribbean. A lot of dry air across the eastern portion of the US. A lot of dry air into the Gulf. And we see some dry air right here to the south of Mexico, south of Guatemala, west of Nicaragua. But look at where the moist air is. The moist air is wherever we have the blues and the yellows. The yellows represents the low end of the scale in terms of dry air. We see a lot of moist air where we have the intertropical convergence zone extending from Africa all the way over into northeastern South America. We have some moist air right here where we have that frontal system that extends down into the Bahamas. Some moist air where we have that trough into the Bahamas. Some moist air across sections of Cuba into Jamaica. Basically wherever we have the yellows. It's a lot of moist air across the eastern Pacific to the south of Costa Rica and Panama, just to the west of Colombia right there as well. Regarding the Saharan dust forecast for the next 3 days. So we're heading into March 2, March 3, and March 4. And as you can see, what's expected over the next 3 days is that the Saharan dust should be pushing through the main development region from, let's say, northeast to southwest, all the way down into the Windward Islands. So Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana, Venezuela. We see that it is pushing into those areas. And look, as it continues to push through those areas, it is dissipating, it is dwindling down. So it was crazy Saharan dust with all of the greens, yellows, oranges and pinks, but the more it pushes towards the west and the southwest, the more it dwindles back down to the greens, and that's a good thing because you know that the Saharan dust can definitely cause hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons. So we're grateful that this is the forecast. We don't see anything coming to the Jamaica area at all. Regarding the wave forecast for tomorrow, we're seeing that the waves are still high, especially to the east of the Lesser Antilles, where we're seeing the purples into the pinks into the burgundies, represents anywhere from 2 all the way up to maybe 4 meter wave height. Across the Caribbean is some mixture of light shades of blues to dark shades of blues to purples and pinks that represents anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height up to 2.5 meter wave height. And that's because of the winds that are expected. Clearly, some strong winds across the eastern portion of the Atlantic, so across the main development regions. Here right there, 25 to 30 knots in those yellows. Bright greens and yellows, so 20 to 25 knots across the Caribbean. More from the east northeasterly or northeasterly flow across much of the western and southwestern Caribbean. And if we zoom in on Jamaica's wave forecast for tomorrow, to the north of Poland 1.1 meter wave height expected, to the north of St. Anne's 0.8 of a meter wave height expected, to the north of Hanover 0.8, to the south of Westmoreland 0.7 of a meter wave height expected, the further south you go 1.1, to the south of Clarendon 0.9, the further south you go 1.8, to the south of St. Thomas 1.5 meter wave height. And that is because of the winds that are expected. We clearly see winds coming in from the east averaging 8 knots to the north of Portland, 11 knots from the east to the north of St. Anne, 11 knots from the northeast to the north of Hanover, to the south of St. Thomas, 13 knots from the east to the south of Clarendon, 14 knots from the east. And we see where that air is expected to pile up across sections of some central and western parishes. This is where we have the least amount of wind. So this is where we could have some of these low level clouds becoming mid-level rain clouds, if not upper level cumulonimbus clouds. So that's where we could have some amount of rainfall taking place tomorrow when we get that daytime heating. Upper level winds coming in from the southwest tomorrow. So if we actually get some convection to fire up tomorrow, cloud tops would be sheared off towards the northeast or the east northeast like this. We'll see it actually plays out. And if we take a look at the rainfall forecast maps, we didn't see much of anything in the morning, but that doesn't mean we can't get rainfall in the morning. But we're definitely seeing the consensus for some amount of rainfall during the afternoon, because this map from the ERA and this map from the GFS, they are both showing 3 p.m. on Monday, and we're seeing the rainfall especially across the central and western parishes on the ERA. GFS showing something similar, so definitely some rainfall in the forecast for sections of Hanover, St. James, section of central to southern Trelawny, southern St. Anne, section of southern St. Mary, maybe even as far north as northern St. Mary, section of maybe northeastern Portland, maybe western St. Thomas, section of Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester into St. Elizabeth especially, clearly the darkest blues, across section of St. Elizabeth and Manchester once again. Westmoreland getting some of the action. Even the Euro model adamant about Manchester into St. Elizabeth getting the most of tomorrow's rainfall, just like today. We'll say it actually plays out, and if we take a look at the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Monday. The Euro going up to at least 0.44 of an inch of rainfall. The GFS going up to at least 0.32 of an inch of rainfall, especially in the southwest. We'll say it actually plays out, and whatever happens, we just have to take it. We're now in the month of March, and in Trelawny we usually receive 77 millimeters of rainfall this month. That's about the same as 3 inches of rainfall. While in Manchester we usually receive 44 millimeters of rainfall this month. That's about the same as 1.7 inches. And if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of March or for the entire year, you can visit nomadseason.com, and that website to show that information. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go out to the next one, Jan 68 hours. That stands for the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens represents millimeters of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. Alright, so we're looking at 12Z on Monday because that stands for 7 a.m. and we've already seen what's expected for, well, 12Z on Tuesday. That stands for 7 a.m. on Tuesday, and we've already seen what's expected on Monday. As you can see here, we're seeing some moisture across some northern and eastern parishes in Jamaica on the Euro. Then, Tuesday afternoon, we're seeing some rainfall across some eastern, southern, and western parishes. Do we have agreement on the GFS? Northeastern parishes did that rainfall on Tuesday morning. Tuesday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. What do we see on Wednesday morning? Wednesday morning, not really seeing much of anything across Jamaica. Wednesday afternoon, we see some moisture across eastern, central, and western parishes. What does the GFS show? Wednesday morning, don't see much of anything. Wednesday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Interesting. What do we see on Thursday morning? Thursday morning, don't really see much of anything on the Euro. Thursday afternoon, we're seeing some moisture across eastern, central, and western parishes. What do we see on the GFS? Thursday morning, looks like some rainfall very close to the north coast. Then on Thursday afternoon, look at that rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. What do we see on a Friday morning on the Euro? Friday morning, we're seeing some moisture to the north of us. Some moisture maybe across the far eastern end. Then on a Friday afternoon, we're seeing moisture across eastern, central, and western parishes. What do we see in the GFS? Friday morning, rainfall definitely brushing the north coast. Then on a Friday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes again. What do we see on Saturday morning now? Saturday morning, look at that moisture to the south of us affecting the northeastern parishes too. Saturday afternoon, rainfall looking like it's affecting eastern, central, and western Jamaica. And we're stopping it right here at the end of the 1 Jan 68 hours. So this is valid for Sunday, March 8th, and we're seeing the moisture to the north of us, to the south of us, across the eastern end as well. What do we see on Saturday and Sunday on GFS? Saturday morning, rainfall across the northeast and the eastern end. Saturday afternoon, we're seeing rainfall across eastern, northern, and western parishes. And just like on the Euro, we're stopping it right here at the end of the 1 Jan 68 hours. So this is valid for Sunday, March 8th as well. And we're seeing some moisture across the far eastern end of the island, similar to what we saw on the Euro. We'll say it actually plays out over the next 7 days. And whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted. And if we take a look at the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps here, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Sunday, March 8th. And we can clearly see that the most rainfall should be wherever we have the dark reds into the purples and the pinks. That represents anywhere from 2 to 5 inches of rainfall for portions of the Greater Antilles like Eastern Cuba, the northern portion of the Dominican Republic, maybe the Yucatan right in here into Belize, section of Eastern Honduras into coastal Nicaragua, Costa Rica into Panama right here, section of Colombia into Western Venezuela, sections of French Guyana into Suriname. And if we take a look at the GFS, we're seeing something similar in some isolated spots. We're even seeing some purple right here across section of northern Cuba into central Cuba. We'll see it actually plays out over the next 7 days. We can clearly see that there is going to be rainfall over the next 7 days, at least an inch of rainfall or less, as represented by the green, yellows, oranges, and reds. Elsewhere, much of the Bahamas, much of Cuba, much of the Cayman Islands, much of the Lesser Antilles, into the ABC Islands and Venezuela. We'll see it plays out. And if we take a look at Jamaica's rainfall totals for the next 7 days, both maps right here from the year and the GFS are also showing other rainfall that's expected from now up until Sunday, March 8th. We see Jamaica shaded from the eastern end to the western end. In the blues, greens, and yellows, that represents anywhere from 10 millimeters or 5 millimeters all the way up to maybe the 30 millimeters in some of these yellows across Trelawney, eastern Westmoreland, eastern Portland, northeastern St. Thomas. We'll see. We're seeing a big 49 right here out to sea to the north of Portland, to the northeast of St. Mary. The GFS, on the other hand, is showing even more rainfall over the next 7 days across Jamaica, from the eastern end to the western end, that you're seeing shaded in the blues, 5 all the way up to the greens, 15 up to 30 in the yellows, and what looks like 55 millimeters of rainfall in the Hanover and western St. James area. We'll say it actually plays out. We see some similarities, we see some differences. Whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted if what occurs. Alright, so what's happening across the rest of the Caribbean basin? Some low to mid-level clouds with some moisture within them pushing through the Lesser Antilles as we speak. Some moisture affecting Hispaniola as we speak. Moisture associated with that frontal system affecting northern Bahamas and Florida, as well as northern Cuba as we speak. If we take a look at the Doppler radar images though, near Puerto Rico, what's taking place down there? Let us see for ourselves. Alright, so we can definitely see some isolated showers in and around the Leeward Islands affecting the British Virgin Islands, just to the north of St. Kitts, to the north of San Juan, to the south of Guadeloupe, to the north of Dominica. Loading these Doppler radar images from about 1 p.m. today. Look at the moisture pushing in from east to west that affected Guadeloupe, St. John's, Antigua, sections of St. Kitts as well. If we take a look at the Barbados radar, we're seeing that much of the rainfall is right here to the south of Barbados. In the blues and the greens, some light to moderate rainfall. Some of it affected Barbados today, and it is still affecting sections of St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, especially getting the brunt of the rainfall, and more is still to come. We're also seeing that some of this rain band could be pushing into Grenada. Tobago might already be feeling the effects of it. And if we take a look at the weather wave Doppler radar images, we can see we had some rainfall across sections of Hispaniola, sections of Cuba, southern Florida, section of the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico as well. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the year and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Tuesday, 3Z. That's about from now up until 10 p.m. on Monday. And we can clearly see the rainfall in the greens and the yellows. They're representing from 0.1 of an inch of rainfall up to maybe 0.4. So section of southern Florida, section of northwestern Cuba, southeastern Cuba, central to the southern Bahamas and Turks and Caicos, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, eastern Puerto Rico, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and Grenadines, Grenada, Barbados, section of coastal Guyana, section of coastal French Guiana, western Venezuela, Colombia, Panama into Costa Rica's coastal eastern areas, Nicaragua's eastern areas, northern Honduras, sections of coastal Belize into eastern portion of the Yucatan. And we can clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS modes are in agreement with this forecast. I wonder that when they're in agreement like this, chances are higher for it to actually take place. What's happening here across the Indian Ocean? No suspect areas. The southern West Pacific is still showing that we have Ermil, which has now been transformed to a subtropical storm, so it's not really having any readings. Don't see any close-up satellite imagery or any information on it. So it's subtropical now, so it's going to quickly push off towards the southern poles direction. So nothing really happening at all right no, but that would definitely change, especially what we saw on the what do you call it, the CPC, the US Climate Prediction Center's 7-day, the global weather outlook. We'll see it plays out. We're seeing that it's gonna start getting very active in the Western Pacific and Indian Ocean, especially around Australia over the next 2 weeks or so. We'll see it actually plays out, and whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted if thought occurs. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.